What's up, Fire Fam? My name is Kiahonfire and welcome back to Destiny 2. For those who don't know, I am in love with Destiny, and recently me and the Sneaky Havoc clan have completed the PETRAS run raid inside of Last Wish, and it was beautiful, it's emotional, and it was an amazing experience. And we finally got RIVENSBANE, which took ages. Anyway, the video is kind of long enough as it is, so I'm just going to let it play. I'm going to commentate over some bits and let the music go. So let's go. So here we go, on to Callie's. We're starting here, and pretty much we have three teams of 2 to cover each pole if needed, but we can one-face this pretty easily. Team consists of 1 Titan, 2 Warlocks and Rest Hunters, and they all have Nighthawk on. So it makes this phase very quick. In fact, 1 minute 30 quick. It was a very quick phase. Even sped up, this is not long at all. No, it's a good phase. Got well in the middle, all sorts. Melting point. Make sure she's all weak and stuff, and there we go. Gonna stand in the well. Knock their clogs off. I get a little bit of my melting point, but it does run out after a while. On the doors we have numbers, so we know which one we're going into all the time, to stop deaths that way. We're very organised. Very, very organised. So she died in about 2 rounds. After running Callie many times, I think we pretty much nailed her to a point that's perfection. It's ridiculous. On to Shiraishi. We have a lot of tethers on this one. Again, hammers for melting point and well for warlock. We're not bothering with the orb technique here, we're just going quickly as possible. Killing what needs to be killed. It's mostly just a lot of killing on Shiraishi. Nothing special. The usual method. We do have 3 people always assigned to prisons and 1 left over though, just in case someone doesn't get there in time because she pushes you away. But the Lord of Wolves technique we use, it really melts her really quickly. It beats Aikilos. We used to do Aikilos shotgun, but now we just switched to Lord of Wolves and she just dies. It's ridiculous. She dies so fast that sometimes I don't even get damage in from my melting point. That's how fast. I'll be done with my melting point and they'll be done with her, by the time I get to shoot at it. It's ridiculous. The puzzle we also had 4 people assigned to and 1 extra just in case we couldn't take another one. We found this to be the less stressful method of doing it, so we stuck to doing it that way. And it works out pretty well. We get plenty of time. About 1 minute 30 is probably about our average, or 1 minute 40. The only problem with this room is you seem to have phalanxes that like to just appear on you randomly, out of nowhere. Like invisible phalanxes, which can be quite scary, and we had this quite a lot, and now, it was oh my god, this phalanx, what the hell? But you had to be watchful of those, and we had 2 people on ad clear. The rest on the plates. She can only stand on one of these plates once, and we don't want to die here, so there we go, let's get rid of all those phalanxes. Bloody blighters. Someone accidentally put down a well here as well, which was an accident. But yeah, I'm just going to speed this up, and you already know what's going to happen through this phase. Just as usual, nothing different. So I'm going to speed it up to the top layer. The final layer of Shiraishi. Get into the prisms. We also have, most of us remembered where we were standing on prisms, so we didn't have to worry. We knew where we were standing round about, so we just went straight to the prism that we usually went to, which caused a lot less stress as well. We all very tense on this run. I would say probably Shiraishi is probably one of the more painful runs out of the whole Last Wish. It's Shiraishi and Riven. The rest of it, not so bad, not a problem. Even the bridge, never bothered me. I didn't die once in all of our trials to anything like silly mistakes, nothing at all. The only thing I died to was group wipes. There's 0 death! This is 0 death 1, so Can't afford to die. I accidentally hit someone in the back of the head here. Just had to get through. It's not always ideal. Here we have the Ascendant Realm where you have to cross the bridges and everything. How we tackled this was basically be patient. That's all. Be patient with your people. If you think you can't make one side of the platform, go for the flat side. And that's pretty much how we did it and succeeded. I think only a couple of people died here a couple of times because one of our guys is pretty new to our Switch actually, which was kind of funny. And then just like, you know, silly mistakes, pressure, under a lot of pressure while you're doing this, because if you die, you know, you have to do it all again. So, bleh. Going on to the Ogre stage, we have a very different setup here as well. I always start by picking up the orb first, and then I'll pick up the second orb. Usually what will happen is I will get trapped first. That's usually what happens. But of course, sometimes it could be someone else. But the thing is, if someone on the right side gets trapped, they have to come over here to pick up our orb, because we can't hold it. But if I get the Ogre Tornado, then I can go and pick up the orbs, because I'm cleansed free of orbs, if that makes any sense. Which is usually what makes it ideal. We're using our snipe to get rid of the ogres when they were there. The problem with the ogres is they always turn around, which is really annoying. We're using all the rocks for cover and stuff because we don't want to get bounced back by ogres and stuff. And even here, he actually targeted me at the wrong time. And it was really scary because, oh, I thought I was a goner, I really did. And when you get that far to Ogre, you don't want to go down. You really don't. You don't want to be the one that goes down in a Petras run. It's really scary. But we all kept with it. We did quite well, getting rid of the yellow bars so Morgan can start his phase. Because he won't start his phase unless you get rid of those yellow bars. He almost stopped me there as well, which was really worrying. But I always do like a little pick up the orb. I used to melting point him, but on this run it's too risky. And we actually completed this faster than I thought, so we didn't actually need the shield barricade that I was going to use initially. That's what my super is for. Onto the vault. Unfortunately, I started my recording a little bit late on this because we had done so many runs by now that I was just like, are we going to get it? I had a pretty good teammate this time. Usually when I'm in there with the orb, I would deplete the knight's health to about one single yellow bar. But with my teammate, I have a warlock teammate, and he was just using his chaos reach on a dude, and it was like annihilating him. So I was kind of just standing there at backup for this kind of one. You gotta really trust your protector here. We're doing the vault one where the reader is also the runner, so your teammate helping you on the platform just kind of helps you with ad clear and stuff like that. Nothing more, nothing less. It's kind of helpful. I was really worried on this stage though because I keep getting these things where every time I hit the Eye of Riven he spawns his little eyeball. It sometimes can fling you all the way across the tree room. And that was really scary because, you know, I don't want to die. Got rid of our phalanxes, carried on. A lot of here was trying to remember what you had, so we tried to keep the chat up, but clown people were talking at the same time, so it's a bit like, ah! So to keep checking. No, Vault is probably one of my favourite encounters and what I find most easiest actually. It's not too bad. And I love the Acreus for it as well because it pretty much peels those knights, it really does. And I don't even have a catalyst on it, so imagine if I got a catalyst on it. Oh boy, that would be good. So here what we're doing is we're reading out, it always starts with bull and then the next person will speak and then the next person will speak. So we can know which ones and plates to cleanse. But we're very used to working together at the moment, so we just know who's who doing what, you know, kind of things. When you work with a clan so long like that and you get used to each call out and everything like that, it's really cool, so this is quite stressful because the actual last cleanse was on me on the last phase of Vault. I was like, oh my god. It's all in my hands and in my lap. It's great. I love coding them with Commander here, it just obliterates everything. It's wonderful. Here we go, we open the tree room. I tend not to prematurely open my super here because it does worry me a bit. And if you run out of super with the Iron Ribbon, then you're kind of risking yourself a little bit more, so I tend to kind of think about that a bit more and try and not to do that. But I did pop it a little bit late. I usually do it when the portals come up on either side of where the Iron Ribbon is going to spawn. I got rid of all the bits here. As usual, I probably would have peeled that night, but of course my teammates got it. I believe in my teammate. And there we go. That is Vault done. Now onto the tricky bit, which is Riven. I also cut some phases of this because Riven Run is the longest run out of all the parts of Last Wish. Although Last Wish isn't really long to run as long as you don't die, which is easier said than done, of course. But if you're with people that know what they're doing, then time will be cut significantly lower. This actual phase had more risk in it than doing it the cheese method, but we wanted to do it legitimate. We wanted to have the feel of how it was done in the way it was supposed to be done, if you know what I mean. We were doing it how it was made to be. And it was actually really enjoyable. I get a lot of pleasure from when I do this Ribbons run, because you're kind of doing it legit, and it feels great, and you get a lot of satisfaction from it, because it's so hard. Like, it's not hard. But there's so many aspects in it and so many mechanics, and you get such a muscle memory built up about it. I think the cleansing was the worst because there is a cleanse bug sometimes where it doesn't show correctly, and then you can die from that, and I was really worried about that. But we didn't get it here, we were quite lucky. Using everything for cover. I was letting Riven blow her fire 4 times and then shooting it. Or when she gets her tentacle down, I wait for the other team to pick up their orb, and that gives us enough time to get her eye, call out and everything. We mark it down, and then the others can shoot the eyes, and then we can do our business over here. So everything's timed. Second cleanse will always be my other teammate, Jimmy. He picks up the orb and tells me what he sees, and then I tell him where to go. We're pretty good at knowing where to go. But we always make sure we kind of say yes or no when they reach the cleansing plate, because sometimes you don't always get the right one. It's a little bit confusing down there when you have the orb yourself. Even after many tries, you don't want to get it wrong, so that's our kind of safe, full method of, you know, not getting it wrong, knowing where you're going, kind of things like that. Now we're onto the big room, the stressy room where you have to get all the callouts for the eyes. We recently changed our method from what I tutorialed in my video, just to help out some of the people that know how to play Riven and stuff like that. We would designate some of the 3 of the most players with the most experience, and they would shoot the eyes, have 2 eyes each to shoot on the eye shooting sequence. It's pretty easy to do when you get used to it, but my god, you get a lot of pressure on a Petra's run from it. And luckily we only had to do it once, because we had nailed down her health enough to be able to just shoot her the second time. But you'll see that in a bit. I did want to record, like, add most of this Riven's run in, because I always love it. It's great, it's pretty. Get a lot of enjoyment from it. It's very hard, very difficult to do and get right, because you have to work well with your team as well. Because if you don't work well with your team on this plate, in this place, it can be very stressful. You get it wrong, people get angry, you know, things like that. We work very well. There we go. You got 2 eyes there. Grab the platforms. I always run to mine really fast and then kill the ogre, the extra ogre, from where I'm standing, because I can do that. And then here's the pimple popping room. This one's always scary because you always get these action darts that come after you, which is assholes. I used to actually use a bow for this, but I do use a sniper rifle a lot of the time because it one-shots the pimples. You can get a quick job done there. Anyway, we're just going to skip that and go straight to the second phase of this room here. So here we did the usual thing, but we didn't count the eyes this time actually, we just looked at it. I think someone looked at the eyes at least, but no, we were pretty sure that we could just speed through this, and we did actually. It was still unnerving because if you didn't get it right, then you'd have to do everything all over again. We sniped away the ogres and stuff. I usually baited, but she was doing a lot of fire this time around, so I didn't really have to bait as much as I would. Here was the moment of truth for when she was going to go down or not, and we did get her. And here on the running part, we let 2 people just run the track instead of all of us, because then we have less chance of bouncing into each other. And then the rest of us down here, we stood in someone's well, and we just shot away the phalanxes that we could see to lessen the load on these guys. And we did it. They ran through it, and they got the orb, and then we blasted down Riven to get to our heart. And there we go, there's the Riven phase completed. Now's the moment of truth phase where we are all on edge as hell. We had already been to Queen's Walk several times, and every time we lost, it was because of one stupid bug. It wasn't even guitar error. It was just this tiny, like... We had one of the people in our team, Yano, he stood pixel on pixel with someone that was spawning into the other realm. And that caused him to fling into oblivion and die. And that was wonderful. But no, I think we all banged our heads against the table for about 10 minutes there after that. Because you get all this way, and if you die on this phase, it's devastating, it really is. And you're trying not to be mean, but god damn, it's stressful, it really is. But when you finally get it, oh my god. So here we were just running through. I'm quite glad of how it turned out with the people running. I was quite glad I got to see it run all the way through, and that was really nice for me to do. We actually had an extra person on this one, which was me and Jimmy when we got to the actual area that we were supposed to be, so if it did turn out bad, then I was there to finish it, but we finished it. And it was amazing. So we were coming up to the hole you've fallen, and we were really worried about this. And I actually got scared because I thought I was going to die at one point until they refreshed the buff on the ball. Because you don't fall at the same rate, so the bubble kind of just pisses off down the lane, and it's scary. It really is. Because if you don't make it in that means you die, and I was really worried. We had plenty of time, we popped it in, it was amazing, and that is Petra's run. But there we go, that's Petra's run. It was amazing, it was worth doing, and I absolutely loved the challenge of it. I hope there'll be more challenges like this in Destiny in the future, but thank you for watching me go through it. And it was wonderful. And we did it. And finally I can put on my own RIVENSBANE title, which I have been grinding for absolutely ages. Because I love this raid a lot. And it was actually my first badge as well, so I was really proud of this. I'm really, really proud of it. Come through so much. Now I think I need like a week's break from doing this. It was a lot. Anyway, I'm going to show you what kind of equipment I used now. Now this is the first set of armour I will put on for the Kali and Shoro part of the raid. It will stay up on top trees, so this is for melting point. Here's the rest of my gear. I mostly keep most of this on for the raid. The only thing that really swaps around is the exotic. I did switch between the Reverie Dawn flap and the Sunbreak Mark flap, but I decided I preferred this, and I popped on a Transitive Blessing as well. You only really need one, so yeah, that's why I got that instead of that, if you're wondering. For primary guns on this, I like to use the Breakneck, because it seems to be really good at ploughing the small little thrall enemies. It's just great for lots of hordes of stuff. I got a minor spec on it. If I wasn't going to use this, I would be using my Chattering Bone. Next, I like to use a Lord of Wolves because they buff the crap out of it lately and it's just brilliant. It's mostly on there just for Shiraishi, but it's great for taking out the knight that spawns on your platform on the Kali part. And it's just great because it's got more range and it's brilliant. Then we got the Hammerhead. I haven't got the best roll on it, but it does the job. It actually does more damage than the Thunderlord, and it's pretty nice. It just works out well. So that is my setup for Kali and Shiro. Then I'm going to go on to how I set myself up for the Ogre. Now this is what I have set up for the Ogre room. This is Code of the Commander. I basically like to use it for the detonators, especially with the grenades. It's brilliant, and the shield is great for protecting people from the action darts that come out of the Ogre. If you don't kill it in time, they will come out. Now this is pretty similar. The only difference is the weapons and the exotic. And the chest plate we have here is just with a simple ordnance mod and pulse rifle aim, nothing special, special ammo finder. I always like to be stacked on ammo, so I have a lot of them, and probably too many that is actually needed than necessary, but whatever. Here we have Ursa Furiosa. The reason I have this is if my shield actually runs out in a really bad time, these, if I block damage, my Sentinel shield comes back really quickly. So if I need to use it, then it will be there for me again very quickly, and we'll be safe. So that's why I have these on. I was using these because these are great as well, but you don't really need them, so I thought it's best to have like a kind of safeguard here, just in case. The other thing I like to use here is Chattering Bone because you need a little bit more range, and I find the Breakneck doesn't do that so great. It likes to tap enemies kind of close, and I felt the Chattering Bone is a bit more accurate, and I like that for that, and it's good for taking out the Eyes of Riven, stuff like that. I like using it for that. Or if I can, and they're not focusing me, I also like to use Twilight Oath. Twilight Oath is brilliant. I love Twilight Oath. I probably haven't got the best roll on it, but it does what it does and it services me well. And here we have our Whisper of the Worm. We chose to do it like a safer way this time so we could stay at the back. The bolts wouldn't be a problem, so we wanted to use the sniper method where you stand at the end of the bridge. It wasn't too much problem with the nerf. It's a bit vicious because sometimes you do reload for no reason, even though every hit you hit is like critical. It's a weird bug, but hopefully they'll fix it eventually. But we did it with that, and the whispered breathing is great, so we used that instead. Moving on to my vault setup, again we use Code of the Commander, same as Ogre. There's very little changes here. We have the Doomfang Pauldrons for increased super energy and the improved Sentinel Shield. It's really nice. Melee kills, you can get that on the Scions that sit and spawn behind you when you're reading and stuff like that. You can just get it from that. Chattering Bone again, Outlaw Rampage, brilliant stats. Ikilos is basically mostly used for the Knight if it's needed, but I'll be maining the Legend of Acryus instead most of the time, because that about 2 shots those big clunky ass Knights, and it's great. So the Ikilos is like if I run out of that ammo right there, which I usually don't, so it's just like a backup. Now moving on to my Riven setup, we have Top Tree Sunbreaker again. So that's Melting Point, not that we use Melting Point, but the hammers are nice, and so is the explodey stuff. Again, we're using Chattering Bone because it's wonderful. Twilight Oath for the Eyes of Riven, Thunderlord for her chin, although you could also use a Hammerhead or something else, or you could possibly even use a Izanagi's Bergen, which is lovely as well. But this is what I like to use, it's what I'm comfortable with, and I do switch out now and again, but it's what I use for the Petras run, and it worked. And we put on our Kiahonfire heart again because we want lots of grenades and to be able to make things go kaboom. But that is my setup again for Riven. Moving on to my setup for Queen's Walk, this is what I use. I use Code of the Commander again because it's just, I love it. We had the Doomfang Pauldrons for extra super energy. You'd be able to fling shields into your enemies and just get even more super back, and I love it, it's great. You really want a long-lasting super in the Queen's Walk to be able to do a lot of damage, especially in that first bit. and we kind of just pop it. You could pop it at stages, but I just go for it, go ham. A lot of people use Risk Runner, but I stopped using the Thunderlord, and I don't seem to run out of rounds by the time we get to the end of it. Never really lasts that long to be a worry, but Risk Runner is really another good one for this one, and yeah, pretty much. And that is my setup.